Hey guys, it's Ava. I'm part of the task team, and today we will be learning about nutrition for biology. This can work for either biology honors classes or biology regents classes. This video is a follow-up of my 8 life processes video for biology. You can go check that out. I also already made a video on aerobic respiration, but today we will be doing nutrition. So let's get started. So the summary of today's lesson will cover the 2 main types of nutrition, which are autotrophs or heterotrophs. And for autotrophs, they perform nutrition through chemosynthesis or photosynthesis, and heterotrophs, they have a process which involves ingestion, digestion, assimilation, and egestion. So what is nutrition? Nutrition is one of the 8 processes in which an organism exhibits. The term nutrition is used to describe the processes by which an organism acquires materials from the environment it is in, and then it prepares these materials for use. Organisms either synthesize their own food or utilize preformed organic substances. Organisms which synthesize their own food are autotrophs. So autotrophs, basically, they synthesize these organic molecules, and then organisms obtain these organic materials from the preformed substances. Those types of organisms are heterotrophs. So the organisms which obtain their materials from preformed substances are heterotrophs. So as you can see here, heterotrophs versus autotrophs. Heterotrophic organisms utilize preformed organic substances for food. These preformed substances are synthesized by autotrophs, as we said before. So the autotrophs synthesize their own organic substances, which then the heterotrophs consume. Heterotrophic nutrition includes ingestion following with digestion, assimilation, and egestion. As we said, that is the process. And on the bottom left are some examples of heterotrophs, just general. And then autotrophs. Autotrophic organisms synthesize organic food materials from inorganic materials in their environment. There are 2 types of autotrophic nutrition. Photosynthesis is chemosynthesis, as we said before. In photosynthesis, the inorganic materials used from the environment are H2O and CO2, also known as water and carbon dioxide. So H2O and CO2 are the inorganic raw materials utilized from the environment in photosynthesis. On the bottom right, we can see examples of autotrophs: plants on land, algae, water, and bacteria. Autotroph for photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, light energy and inorganic materials such as carbon dioxide and water are utilized to synthesize organic food materials. Glucose was organic food material which was synthesized. Enzymes and solar energy assist in the synthesis of glucose. So basically, autotrophs that use photosynthesis use inorganic materials which are carbon dioxide and water from their environment, and then from those inorganic materials, along with the use of solar energy and enzymes, it becomes converted into the synthesis of glucose. So as we can see, the formula is CO2 plus H2O, arrow, C6H12O6 plus O2. That is glucose plus oxygen. Oxygen is released into the air. It's a waste product of photosynthesis, which proves beneficial to us humans and many other animals. Water enters through the roots. So the autotrophs which perform photosynthesis get their water from the environment through their roots, and then CO2 enters through the stomata of the leaves. So stomata are tiny pores in the leaves which allow for gas exchange. So an example of an autotroph can be a plant. So CO2 enters from the stomata in their leaves. So it's like allowing the CO2 to enter because of the gas exchange that it performs, and then water will go through the roots. So oxygen, as we said before, is a waste product of photosynthesis, and it's released into the air. Glucose or sugar, which it's the same thing, glucose is a sugar, is produced in photosynthesis. It is converted to starch. Within the plant, there are multiple glucose molecules linked together to form starch. Plants, algae, and certain bacteria perform photosynthesis. On eukaryotes, photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast. Chlorophyll is in the chloroplast. Chlorophyll in the chloroplast traps light energy, also known as solar energy, to synthesize organic food materials from CO2 and H2O. So chloroplast role in photosynthesis. Chloroplasts are organized into flattened discs, like sacs, known as thylakoids. So it's organized flattened disc-like sacs, and those disc-like sacs are thylakoids, which are within the chloroplast, stacked. And the chlorophyll and other pigments which capture energy are located within the thylakoid membrane. So chlorophyll is part of the chloroplast, which helps capture the solar energy. So along with other pigments, chlorophyll is in the thylakoid membrane of the chloroplast. Chloroplasts support the endosymbiotic hypothesis, as it has its own DNA and ribosomes. So the endosymbiotic hypothesis is basically saying that eukaryotic cell organelles such as the mitochondria and chloroplast used to be independent prokaryotic organisms, and that can be proven because chloroplast has its own DNA and ribosomes, as well as mitochondria does too. Within the thylakoids, pigments and enzymes capture sunlight energy. Stroma is the fluid substance surrounding the thylakoids, and sugar and glucose is formed in the stroma. So the fluid substance around the thylakoids in the chloroplast is where sugar and glucose is formed. So as we see here, the stroma is pointed to the blue, which is surrounding the thylakoids. Thylakoids are the stacked disc-like shapes, and basically we know that sugar or glucose is formed in the stroma. Autotroph or chemosynthesis. We're going to be very brief with this, not much to discuss. Chemosynthesis is one of the autotrophic nutritional processes in which an organism utilizes light energy and inorganic raw materials to synthesize organic food materials. The presence of light is not required for chemosynthesis. That's the main difference that we need to be aware of. So as we can see by the photo on the right, photosynthesis needs the presence of light. On the contrary, chemosynthesis occurs in the total darkness of the seafloor and does not require light or solar energy. The picture on the left, we can see it as a process by which some organisms, like bacteria, use chemical energy to produce carbohydrates. So rather than solar energy, it's using chemical energy. We're going to be very brief. Heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic organisms consume and utilize preformed organic substances for food. As we said before, they don't make their own food. So they consume organic substances which have been made by autotrophs already. There are various processes included in heterotrophic nutrition. The first is ingestion, which is the taking in of food. Digestion, which is the breakdown of food molecules so they can be absorbed into the organism. And then assimilation is the incorporation of materials into the organism's body. Lastly, egestion is the process in which indigestible or undigested materials are removed from the organism's body. On the photo on the left, we can see heterotrophic organisms cannot use light energy to make food. They obtain food energy by consuming their food, and it includes animals, fungi, and protists. So once again, heterotrophic organisms do not make their own food. They consume preformed organic substances. Today we had a really brief video. Next video will most likely be anaerobic respiration and possibly another life process within that video too. But for today we will just go over one more thing. Overall, as we said before, autotrophs. Auto is self, trophos is feed, so that's why we're saying autotrophs self-feed. So they make their own food. They use simple inorganic substances and either light energy or chemical energy to synthesize food. Light energy, any autotroph that uses light energy, we can immediately say it is photosynthetic because photosynthesis requires light energy, meanwhile chemical energy does not. Meanwhile, on the other hand, heterotrophs obtain energy through intake and digestion of organic substances, so they do not make their own food. On the photo on the right, we can see it just says autotrophs are organisms that use light energy from the sun to produce food, also called producers. Examples are plants, blue-green algae, and some prokaryotes. So autotrophs, let's take note of this. Plants, blue-green algae, and some prokaryotes. Those are some we should know. Heterotrophs, on the other hand, organisms that obtain energy from the food they consume. They're also called consumers. Animals, fungus, some prokaryotes, and protists. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.